and welcome to this week's edition of the Swiss Money Solution, the show providing you with more financial tools than a Swiss Army knife. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is the CEO of Swiss American Financial, Jörg Eichmann. We're so glad you're joining us today. We've got a very informative conversation that we're going to be having. You know, Jörg, one of the things I really appreciate about you is your commitment to providing a solid financial education on all the different types of tools that are out there. And I know our viewers are going to be really grateful that we've had this discussion here with them today. But first of all, how are you? What's going on in your world?
Yeah. Good to see you, Kristen, as always. You look fabulous.
Thank you so
incredible, your outfits.
Oh, thank you. This is one of my favorite colors. So yeah, I know it's not the Swiss red, but that's okay.
very, very close.
You can't go wrong with pink in my book.
True. Absolutely.
All right. Well, back to the financial tools. When we talk about being able to have a conversation about all the different tools that exist out there, that means we have to talk about one that often gets a bad rap, but we're going to shed some light on it today. Of course, we are talking about the A word, which is?
Annuities.
Annuities, yes. So don't change that channel, because here's the deal. We are going to be going through the good, the bad, and the fine print today. And the reality is there's lots of different types of annuity products out there. Not all annuities are created equal, but here's why we need to talk about this. So Jörg, I know you know this, but bringing our viewers into this conversation, annuities have hit skyrocketed and really hit record sales over the last few years. In 2024 alone, they hit a new record. Over $432 billion went into annuity products last year alone. So that's my first question, because the numbers don't lie. Not all these people can be wrong.
Yeah.
What do you attribute this surge in annuity sales to over the last few years?
I think, like you said, people got over the stigma of saying, you know, there's a certain guy that always said this, you shouldn't look at an annuity, and that's a terrible idea for you. And it's funny how so many people finally, after being negatively impacted for so many years, are finally looking at him and say, like, oh, hold on a second. That's not what the guy said, right? There's a lot of issues to be added. We don't have the time for it right now, but anyone who's interested to actually watch us and get a full example and a little bit more insight to what the industry is saying and why they're saying what they're saying, they should come and join us at one of our events where it's actually called Taxes and Retirement. And the second part of it is the truth about annuities, the good, the bad, and the very ugly. And
that's the important thing, right, is to provide that education on what exists out there. If folks do want to connect with you with your live events, what's the best way for them to find out when they're going to be happening in their area?
I think the best way is to contact us to where you usually see our information or the QR code. If there's actually I think there's a segment in your questionnaire where you can fill out what are you mainly concerned about. If you would like to join us at one of our live events, whether that's in Idaho, in Washington, in Arizona, wherever that is, please let us know. And we will contact you and we'll set you up. And in most cases, these are dinner events. In many cases, they're at colleges where we do it either Wednesday evening or Saturday morning, or we do them at libraries as well.
Wonderful. So as we provide information throughout today's show on how you can connect with the team of Swiss American Financial, if that's of interest to you, make sure you do connect so you can see when one of these live events will be happening in your area. All right, so annuities, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as you call it, right? What is it that why are people flocking to annuities, especially in the last 3 years, would you say?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I think it's the continuous volatility of the markets, these unbelievable up and down swings, and they seem to go faster and faster paced. But then, of course, we have AI. People now borrow money on margins to buy, you know, on different private platforms online, and you see people everywhere on their phones now. That's all they're doing.
Right.
Whether in an airport or in a bathroom, wherever they are, no one seems to want to look up anymore. And what a good excuse that is to not to have to face anyone in the elevator, right? So to me, right now, that's what they're doing. They have a really itchy thumb right now, and just going and doing things. So I can only imagine the next time the market's having a sharp turn downwards. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are forced to sell their actual holdings in the market because they bought so much on margin. Where these private platforms all of a sudden give you a little notification with the yellow bar and the alarm sign, margin call, and now they need to start sell their stocks. So let's go back 2000, 2001, tech bubble. Dot-com bubble. 2000, 2008, 2009, major market crash, housing downturn,
Financial crisis,
unbelievable financial crisis worldwide.
Yep.
We had literally people telling me in 2012, 2013, they were so risky again. They're like, you know what, this is a once in a lifetime event. They're like, come again? So you forgot already? And there's a study in the psychology of money that actually proves that the American investor is among the Western civilized nations, the only country that has a 5-year memory when it comes to pain.
Interesting.
Then they restart.
Wow.
They are like, oh, this never happened. This is so in the past, so it's never going to happen again. Really? So what happened in 2020? Fastest drop in history.
Right.
In 22 trading days, if I'm not mistaken, the S&P 500 dropped 37%. So were you set up to the point where you didn't have to call your broker and it automatically pulled you out of the market when it's supposed to be? Did you have any investments that could have never lost anything on principal, even though you had some index gains? The worst that could happen, you were only at zero. Those people who prefer those types of investments, they started to flock towards annuities, especially like you said in the last 5 years, because they realized, hold on a second, this really works.
Right.
Oh, at least if I have $1 million and $500,000 is in a principal protected asset.
Right.
If I lose 20% on the money in the market, I'm at 900,000 now because 500,000, 20% of that's 100,000. So now I have 900,000 instead of $1 million. But if I had all the money in the market, I would only have 800,000.
Right.
So once you grasp that concept that, oh, this is also lowering my overall exposure in market downturns, right? Or drawdowns, that's the neat word for it. It's beautiful. It's just the drawdown.
I love how they try to dress it up, right?
It's beautiful, yeah. So don't tell the truth, let's call it drawdown.
Right.
So that's a technical term, obviously. But overall, I think people, they are favoring those products because now they understand at least this portion of my asset allocations is providing income for life and never takes a hit when the market has a major crash.
And I think that's what people are wanting, right? They want to capture some of the upside without having to be subjected to that market loss. And I know that this is your goal for clients. Your number one goal is to preserve the wealth that they've accumulated.
Exactly. Asset preservation is a very big point now, right? You have to really protection and preservation.
Yes.
Because protection now, we have lawsuits, we have taxes, we have long-term care. If you're 65 and you're a couple and you're both healthy, there's an 18 to 38 month, 80% chance that one of you will use that amount in a long-term care facility, which I'd rather have that money and have home health care for myself.
Right.
So there are lots of contracts available with life insurance companies, which, by the way, are the only companies that are allowed to issue fixed index annuities. They actually allow you to get twice that income for up to 5 years to provide for your own long-term care needs and then use the money as you please, so you don't have to be confined into one of the nursing homes that you can see when you go out of town or go into town and take a look at it.
And it's a blessing that there are other products out there outside of long-term care insurance. A lot of people aren't aware of that using the right kind of annuity could also provide you with a potential long-term care benefit. I know we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm excited to continue this conversation of annuities, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the fine print, right? But what would you say to someone watching who's maybe going, I didn't think about it this way before, and they're asking themselves the question of, could an annuity be right for me?
So to you, I would say, start with a retirement plan. I can say this often enough. I really can't. You can't put the cart in front of the horse and start making investment decisions if you don't understand the consequences of withdrawals from all the different income sources. So before you even look at an annuity, let's start with a retirement plan. Let's see where all your income's coming from. What is your Social Security? What is your pension if you're lucky enough to have one? Do you have rental properties? What is the consequences of tying those all together, and then look at your tax consequences, right? Because you want to make sure you're not paying too much in taxes, and if you have over $44,000 overall in income and have Social Security benefits, guess what? Every dollar above that turns $1.85. So we tie that into our tax strategy planning session, and then finally we get a blueprint. The blueprint, as we showed before, will show you a beautiful 11 by 18. You know exactly where you're at every single year, updated for the next 10 years. What is my income? What are my assets? what is my pre-tax income, what's my after-tax income, how much is left over, what's going back into the bank. You want to know that, and then at this point, we can discuss whether or not an annuity is good for you. And in any case, if you own an annuity already, if you purchased that more than 2 years ago, you definitely need to give it a second look, because rising interest rates have now changed the environment, but I'm sure we're going to talk about that in our next segment.
So good. We have so much to get into. So Jörg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, if this is resonating with you and you would like to learn more about what this could potentially mean for your situation, we encourage you to reach out and schedule your time to come in and receive your complimentary written financial plan. This is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation with Jörg and the team of Swiss American Financial to see how they can help and serve you. That number to call is 855-620-2567. Or if you'd like to connect online, you can simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
I'm originally from Switzerland, grew up there. My whole family, they're very musical. By the time I was 3, supposedly I was sitting in a piano and doing this with no notes. I just saw myself at 3 years old, this is what I want to do. Had a great time over there, worked for record companies. When I finally entered the top 10 in the charts in Europe, everyone started to show up and call, right? Because now you're in the charts. So they all want to decorate themselves with some celebrity or not. So I got a couple phone calls, and one of them was from a gentleman that was running some kind of a private bank, and he was living in Palm Beach at that point for 8 years. So onto the plane in Frankfurt, landed in Miami, and it was sunshine and blue skies and palm trees. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. This is great, I'm staying here. So part of the reason why I made it to the US and do what I'm doing now is really that middle step of pursuing my passion of being in music. But it's such a cutthroat business. I also went to the Superior School of Economics in Switzerland, and then I finally got my degree from another school in Bern. So I figured, you know what, you might as well go back to what you were taught in school, and got a degree in. So I ended up forming our company about 20 years ago, and I started to love what I was doing. I started to realize we can really make an impact on people's lives. We can really change their outcome.
Welcome back to the Swiss Money Solution. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Jörg Eichmann, the CEO of Swiss American Financial. We're so glad you're tuning in and joining us today. We are talking all about the A word, annuities, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as Jörg likes to say, right? This is what you teach on a lot. And I think this is where we just really need to get back to the basics, because you and I both know that not all annuities are created equal. We know that certain kinds often give all annuities a bad reputation. So let's unpack that. Help our viewers understand what kinds exist and what they need to understand about these different types.
That's a very good point, and we talk about it a lot. You can't just generalize an opinion and apply it to everything. You can't just say, I drive a Pinto, cars are all dangerous. No, that's a Pinto. Yeah, that thing explodes because your tank's not fine. Well, that's not the same thing as if you drive a Hummer that has, whatever, bumpers and protection around it. It's very similar in the investment world. There's good, bad, and ugly in every asset class. So let's go with annuities. There's actually 4 types. So we always teach people there's 4 types.
Okay.
One of them is the single premium median annuity. That means you hand an insurance company a bulk of money, and in return, they're starting to pay you on a monthly basis starting next month. In most cases, it's either 10 years or 15 years or 20. If you don't live to be 20, then your heirs are going to get the rest of it. But in some cases, you don't have a defined set of time, and that's something that's still prevailing, the myth out there where people are saying, oh no, then the annuity company keeps the rest of it. That doesn't happen anymore, except for single premium immediate annuities.
Also known as a SPIA,
As a SPIA, and we don't use those. So that's something I've used 3 times in 20 years, and I was only for the purpose of financing a life insurance. Who cares if you have $300,000 and then $150,000 goes away to the, because your heirs are going to get $3 million in tax-free money. So that's the only time we ever used it. Then the second annuity is the big, eat a lot of garlic, because garlic, count.
Stay away from it, right?
Count money aqualize coming around you to grab some of your money because the fees used to be so incredibly high. We have seen at our office people come in with annuity fees easily at 4%. So imagine on $1 million you pay $40,000. That is ridiculous.
And if they
right?
were actually writing the check for that amount, that would really bring this home. And this is the variable annuity, right?
That's
that
a variable annuity.
Yes.
Very different because the underlying sub-account is exposed to the market risk.
Right. Yep.
Why are the fees so high? Well, because you also have, in most cases, a life insurance internal. In case you lose half of the value, then they're telling you you didn't lose everything. You're going to get all your investments back. The only thing is you need to die.
Right.
Oh, great. That's a great retirement plan. So clearly that doesn't work.
No. And I should add, too, they have high fees, and you're paying that high fee even if the market drops. You still have to pay that fee. That's
Correct.
the problem.
Yeah, that's another good point. Now, I'm aware of the fact that there are newer variable annuities that so-called have no more fees within, but then you still pay a fee as if you were in the market to the investment advisor. I would have been able to offer many of those on my own as well. I just don't believe that that's a good idea.
That's the best way,
I think if you really use an insurance company, you should use them for one major issue, which is principal protection. So we get to the last two, which is a fixed annuity where you get a set amount of interest, but it's always going to be the same. Right now, because of rising interest rates or high interest rates, just like you get more in a CD, you get way more in a fixed annuity than you got in my entire history, almost 20 years being in this industry, that I've seen. They used to be 2.5, 3, 3.5. Now they give you as much as 5, 5.5. We have seen 10-year contracts guaranteeing 6%. Now they're slowly coming down. So when the rates come down, everything else that's fixed income is also slowly coming down. Leads us to the last and my favorite and only category of annuities I really like.
Okay.
And that's a fixed index annuity. It's called fixed index, and people always confuse that because any year you can choose to either track the market, you're not exposed to market risk, or you can choose the fixed interest declared for that particular year. Okay. So these are the big differences. And the reason why I like fixed index annuities, because you can actually participate in market gains a lot more than what you were able to used to. Okay. And the reason for that, again, is high interest rates.
Right.
In the past, we've seen annuities that would guarantee or had a cap at 40%. So if the market goes up 10, you would get 4. In today's environment, it's way different. I'm actually going to go into that a little bit in our last segment. But for now, these are the 4 types. So as I said, I really prefer the last one, which is fixed index annuity, where you get you get index gains on the market, on the indices that you're tracking, but you're not directly invested in the market. So you have a principal protection.
And so you're not maybe getting all of the market gains, right? But you're capturing a lot of the upside. But to your point, there's no downside.
Correct.
I know some folks listening might go, well, hold the phone. That just sounds too good to be true. What would you say to someone who's maybe never heard of this, or maybe they're just, this is new information for them?
Just like your pension when you came from an employer, what people are confused about is like, well, yeah, but how long I have to be in there? So, well, you don't put the money in there that you want for liquidity. As a fiduciary, we have to make sure that the client has at least a certain amount or percentage of all their assets in liquid assets.
Right.
So when they have an emergency, want to buy a house or whatever, there's enough money there so they don't have to do any stress sales in the market or dissolve annuities that might have penalties. Okay. Plus, most of the fixed index annuities now have at least a 10% penalty-free withdrawal per year. Many of them have now a 20% after year 2. So there's so many different options. So we teach people to get away from that concept that, oh, this is something, how long do I have to be in there? No, no, no. You have a discipline between, in your income plan that we always show, between your income from Social Security, your pension, and this particular pension from a private dimension. So this money is allocated to generate income for as long as you live, and because of inflation, it now needs to be increasing income.
And Jurg, as you were talking, it made me think of how a lot of times I've heard folks say, well, I hate annuities. But then if you ask them, well, do you like having a pension? Oh, I love my pension. Okay, well, do you like having Social Security? Oh, I love my Social Security check. Guess what? Those are both forms of annuities. And so if this is new information for you, maybe you are asking yourself that question, could one of these products be the right fit for me? And again, we never do this for all of someone's money, right?
No.
This is a tool to be used for a specific purpose as part of your overall financial plan. And if you want to see what that could potentially look like for you, we encourage you to reach out. You can do so by calling 855-620-2567, or again, by scanning that QR code you see there in the bottom right-hand corner. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Jurg is going to walk us through some real-life illustrations and examples to see how this plays out for folks. Stay with us.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Swiss Money Solution. If you're just tuning in and joining us today, Jurg and I have been answering the question of, could an annuity be right for you? We're kind of going through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of course, there's lots to know and unpack. You did such a great job in the last segment of helping our viewers understand that there's different types of annuity products out there. Not all are created equal. Not all are the same. There's some that you never use and you stay away from, right? But one of the things that we wanted to make sure we touched on in the show is for folks who might have an existing annuity contract that they got a few years back, why now is such a critical time to maybe look and see, are there opportunities for you to potentially put yourself into a better financial situation than what that existing contract is giving you? Talk to that for a minute.
So the underlying principal protection that you get from a fixed index annuity has dramatically changed. Remember, again, from July 20th, 2020 until September 23, the 10-year Treasury went up 600%. So in other words, that principal protection for a large portion of what a life insurance company uses their money to guarantee your principal and calculate what the client can get and how they buy the options in order to make some money in the market, that is now increased by 600% of what it was in 2020.
Wow, yeah.
So let's say your interest rate was at 1.5% when you bought your annuity, and now it's at 4.5%. Well, the underlying guarantee, again, now pays you 300% of what it used to be. So now, of course, you're going to get much better options trades in order to get index gains on the market. And a life insurance company, they are absolutely brilliant in their concept, right? They are now able to provide much higher gains and better margins, higher caps, and much higher participation rates. We used to say for 20 years, you know what, if an annuity would have the same index gains as the market, it would be too good to be true, right? But let's look at a slide here real quick of what a margin currently is of a large insurance company that we've seen on a statement recently. If you look at that, what it's called, the index margin, it says in the top, so that client had their money split between the index margin and the first position and the index margin at 17.6. What does that mean? That means that the first 13.6% of the S&P 500 gain of that year was taken away by the life insurance company. That client, even though the market went up 15.34% that year, they got only credited 1.74 in their annuity contract. It's outrageous. How are they ever supposed to make any significant gains event? Now, when they started this contract 8 or 9 years ago, the index margin was 5%. So this year they would have gotten 10%. But because of the underlying 10-year Treasury going up and up and up,
Right.
it costs them more and more now based on that original contract to buy an option, so you get less and less on the index gains. And then let's look at the number 2, the second chart here. This is now showing a brand new generation fixed index annuity with no fees.
Okay.
Now you can see a couple features there I can go into in the details, but we maybe will do a follow-up segment in the next show or so.
Yeah.
Look at where it says participation rate. You see that number 160%? So the Bloomberg Dynamic Index and PIMCO Tactical Index 155. What does that mean? That means when the market goes up 10, you get credited 16. What a difference that is.
Yes.
From having 15% and only getting 1.7 or making 10 and getting 16.
Right.
So the world has completely changed because of these higher index interest rate environments and the index gains that are now possible with much better options trade that they can actually do in order to get the actual annuity holder better returns.
And the time is now, because if folks can lock in while interest rates are still relatively high, then when interest rates do come down, that won't impact those contracts, right?
That's exactly right. We might impact them in a positive way.
Right.
Because there's something called a market value adjustment. So if you buy that contract at a high rate, at some point, if you have buyer's remorse, our clients don't do that. But if anyone ever thinks about selling them, let's say it goes from 4.5 back to 1.5. Well, now you're sitting on a couple of years of still having 4.5 paid out.
Right.
Well, everybody in the new market gets only 1.5, so you might actually sell that contract at a gain. I'm not saying that's something you should do, but it's better than the other way around where you got to lower it. Now you're probably paying a fine on top of your surrender charge that's remaining in the contract. And many people can now not dissolve, so they're essentially having their golden handcuffs on their annuity as well.
Right.
So don't just dissolve an annuity because there's a better interest rate environment and the salesperson tells you, hey, look how bit you better. You've got to do the steps right. Get a retirement plan first. Understand what the consequences are of this retirement plan, including annuities, the money that you withdraw from banks, after-tax accounts, money in the stock market, and your pension and Social Security. Understand how that affects your Social Security benefit taxation and your Medicare premiums. At that point, it's worth taking a look at what you currently have in your investments and whether or not there's an opportunity to get you into a much better position. So I always tell people, please don't handle your retirement just like what we're seeing here, right?
With a bunch of monkeys, right?
Exactly.
Monkeys see no evil, hear no evil, right? There we go.
Don't handle your retirement right that, okay? Let's not do that.
Right, let's not stick our heads in the sand. Let's be proactive and get that plan in place.
Exactly.
Well, Jörg, this has been so informative. This time always flies by so quickly. But again, the best thing you can do is come in and sit down and see what all this might mean for you. And the best part is it's completely free to do so. 855-620-2567 is the number to call. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to being back with you next time here on the Swiss Money Solution.